Welcome to the subject of Agronomy 2. This subject is part of the agricultural degree offered at North Melbourne Institute of TAFE, based in Australia. Please visit our website www.nmit.edu.au for further details on both this subject, our courses, and educational products that we offer. This is the first lecture in a series of lectures in this subject. This lecture will deal with an overview and an introduction of the subject. My name is Dr. Nikki Cooley. In this short introductory lecture, we will deal with subject overview, the timetable, mode of subject delivery, assessments, and reading requirements for Agronomy 2. This subject, ALM210, is an elective in the agricultural degree. There is a co-requisite of Agronomy 1, ALM110 subject. Please ensure you come and see me if you do not have this co-requisite. Please note that you will require access to the Yang Ying farm. You will have lectures, tutorials, which may be given online. Laboratory analysis of plant samples will be conducted. There will be field practice for monitoring and sampling of crop and pastures and pasture management. There will be excursions to observe different crop and pasture-based enterprises, as well as case studies of agricultural systems. In this subject, not only do I hope to teach many of the underlying principles in agronomy, but I feel that it is very important that you get some practical hands-on experience. You will note that the timetable reflects this, as we have several visits to our farm, the Yang Ying farm. On this farm, both the higher ed and vet staff have got together to construct a teaching and research demonstrator. It is your responsibility to familiarise yourself with the timetable and check its contents each week. It's located in this lecture and on Moodle. You will note that some weeks we are at the farm, while others we were in the Epping laboratories, where we will have laboratory sessions and either lectures and or tutorials. Please note, the first farm visit for this week is in the first week. Ensure that you bring with you the appropriate equipment required and that you are familiar with the location. When working in a farm environment, it is expected that you wear appropriate clothing for your visit. We will be spending some time out in the sun and probably the rain, so therefore long sleeves, long trousers, a hat with at least a 10 centimetre rim, and sunglasses are essential for these visits. You will not be allowed on the farm if you have open-toed shoes, so please ensure with every visit that you wear closed-toe shoes, or ideally closed-toed boots. Please bring with you ample suntan lotion and remember to apply before your visit and regularly while you're at the farm. For those of you who are not familiar with the Australian climate, it can be really tough. Therefore, I strongly recommend that you bring enough drink and food for your farm requirements. There will not be any food provided during your Yang Ying visit. The Yang Ying farm is part of the NMIT teaching and research infrastructure. Therefore, it is your responsibility to ensure that you are able to travel. The farm is located north of Melbourne. It is a 200-hectare property. There are several ways of getting there. One is that you may drive. The address is 2005 Plenty Road, Yang Ying, Victoria 3755. If you are driving from the Epping campus, it will take you approximately 30 minutes to reach the farm. If you will travel to the farm using public transport, you are able to get the train from Epping to South Morang Station. Please get off the train at South Morang Station and make your way to Civic Drive as shown on the map. You will be able to pick up a bus here, the route 562. This takes you to Whittlesea. If you tell the driver where you wish to get off, they should be able to tell you at which exit to get off the bus. But basically the bus stops right outside the farm with a big sign saying that this is the Yang Ying NMIT property. It takes about 30 minutes to do the train bus. However, please ensure that you take into account the various timetables of both of these modes of transport. We will start these days at 9 a.m. On hot or days where the weather is inappropriate, we will stop at 12. If the weather is appropriate, we will continue to 3 in the afternoon. For Agronomy 2 ALM210, you will be assessed on 4 different criteria. The first will be on field practice. During this exercise, you will be expected to write 2 field reports, each of 500 words, based on the research and work that you do at Yang Ying Teaching and Research Demonstrator. These assessments will be due in on the 15th of August and the 29th of August, and they are worth 25% of this subject. Crop pasture and management plan will be constructed as the second form of assessment. This will be due on the 3rd of October and will be worth 25% of your total mark. A case study will be your third assessment type. This will be a modelling exercise and a written conceptualised essay of 1,200 words. You will use the knowledge that you have gained from the modelling to write the report. This is due in week 12 on the 17th of October and will be worth 30% of your subject. And finally, 20% of your subject will be assessed via a traditional exam, where you will write the answers to any of the topics studied in this subject. This slide is a smaller version of the Semester 2 timetable, which will be available on Moodle. I have also updated on this timetable the assessment deadline timetable, so that you can see how your field visits will integrate with your assessments. As this subject is a second year subject, it will be assessed at a level appropriate. Most of the students doing this subject will be well aware by now about the rules about writing practical reports and case studies, but I wish to remind you at this time about some simple courtesies which I hope you will follow. If you are wishing in your case study or practical report to quote or redefine other authors' works, it is important that you reference this work correctly in the text and in a reference section. Where you copy or talk about somebody else's work, you would make the statement and then you would follow the text by, in brackets, the author's surname with a comma and the year. If there is more than one author, the practice is to write the author's surname followed by et al., which means more than one author in this context, and the year. At each of your practical reports and case studies, you will have a section at the end which will detail the full description of that reference. For example, if you quoted from a journal, you would have all of the author's names, the year of the journal, the year of the article published, the title of the article, the journal title, the journal number, and the page numbers where you were able to obtain this text. If you copy text, and it doesn't matter where you copy it from, whether you copy it from the first 3 searches in Google or copy it from a more comprehensive research investigation, and you do not put the reference correctly, at best this is thought of as poor writing, but at worst it's actually cheating. So for the professional courtesy, I hope that you can respect the correct referencing procedure. As you are now second years, if you do not follow the correct referencing procedure, I will assume that this is incorrectly referenced, and I will not assess any work that is incorrectly referenced. It will be like the sentence is just not there. The subject delivery will compose of lectures, tutorials, practical classes, and on-farm demonstrations. The lectures and tutorials, a large proportion of them will be available on Moodle. You will select the topic, click on the lecture, and you will be able to upload the lecture presentation and also download the lecture handouts and notes for your reference. It is your responsibility to ensure that you watch all lectures that are on the Moodle. Practical classes will be conducted at Epping. I believe this year they are timetabled for Building L. You will be required to attend these so that you can complete the analysis of your field material for your practical reports and your crop management case study and plan. The Yang Ying teaching and research demonstrator will be required for the practical reports and your case study and crop management plan. In the next few slides, I'm going to give you an overview of the subject's content. So the purpose of the subject Agronomy 2 ALM210 is for you to develop knowledge in the practice of agronomy as an interdisciplinary study that underpins sustainable agricultural plant production practices. Advanced skills in measuring crop pasture, growth and yield will be developed, along with examining the biotic effectors that impact on crop and pasture performance. Skills in such technology as GPS data collection, modelling, experimental trials, and I'm hoping to get some additional equipment, along with specific issues of weed management, disease and pest management will be explored in this subject. This subject is underpinned by a sustainable agricultural concept. The specific learning outcomes for this subject are shown on the slide. They include understanding agronomic practices of crop and pastures in both dryland and irrigated environments, the utilisation of different technologies, evaluate and compare different technologies in order to measure plant performance, production efficiency and sustainability, analysis and apply results of experimentation trials to develop a crop or pasture management plan, integrate aspects of crop pasture management into sustainable management plans to improve yields and quality, and discuss the ecological basis for weed, insect and disease impacts and their management. The subject content includes management of production enterprises including broadacre cereal cropping and grazing pastures, crop simulation modelling, efficient use of fertilisers, ecology and management of weeds, pests, diseases and their economic input, integrated pest management, physical, biological and chemical control techniques, management of pesticide residue and the use of biological controls, and the use of genetically modified crops in agricultural systems. In the next 3 slides, a list of recommended readings for this subject have been compiled. These readings are not essential, but will significantly help in your understanding of several of the topics that will be explored in this subject. Where a section of reading is essential to the successful completion of this subject, it will be outlined in the topic and lecture associated with the topic. Please note, a selection of scientific peer-reviewed papers will be presented throughout this subject and available in Moodle under the relevant topic. I'm going to end this lecture now with an overview of what we expect from this subject. From you, the student's perspective, you will be required to watch all lectures and tutorials that are uploaded on Moodle. This is your responsibility. I won't be chasing you up, I will just expect you to have watched them. It is also your responsibility to get the timetabling correct. If we are timetabled to be out at Yangying one week and you fail to turn up because you had a timetable mix-up, you will not be able to collect the data which is required for the assessments. Each student will collect their own individual data and they will write a report on their data. So it is absolutely essential that you get your timetabling requirements correct. If you fail to attend one of the practical sessions, this will not be used as an excuse for not completing your assignments. I hope that in this subject you will be able to apply the concepts underpinning agronomy to the practical situation, the farm. I hope that you will have some practical experience of experimental trials after this subject, and that you will be able to apply these concepts to on-farm situations. I want to take this opportunity to thank you for enrolling in this subject. I'm really looking forward to meeting you all and lecturing you on agronomy.